All right, so let's talk about category B, space margin, skill B5, blocks, crosswalk. So what does ICBC say? They say stop behind crosswalks to avoid blocking people from crossing. Okay, so students, they read that in the book, or they read this skills explainer sheet, and they go, oh, I shouldn't come into the crosswalk then. Yes and no. So there are two scenarios, okay? So if the light is red, this is scenario one, yes, normally after I make my full stop, I can inch forward to see what's going on the crossroad. If I'm planning on turning right and there is no sign prohibiting me from doing so, but if there is a pedestrian approaching to use a crosswalk, then I won't go forward until they cross. So let's say my light is red, chances are this walk signal right now has a walk signal, or this crosswalk has a walk signal. So if this person is walking to use this crosswalk, this is not a good time for me to leave my stop line and come up and see what's happening to the left to try to make a turn. I would be occupying this crosswalk. Okay. However, if no one is coming up to use this crosswalk here, and I've stopped at my red light, I've stopped before the stop line, I've shoulder checked right, no one was coming up to use the crosswalk, I can inch forward here to see what's going on. Okay, so now I'm occupying the crosswalk, but I'm not blocking anyone from using the crosswalk. Okay, so here's the thing. If we inch forward when the crosswalk is clear and no one is walking towards it, and we end up waiting in the crosswalk because of cross traffic, and then a pedestrian shows up to cross, we will not back up to let them cross. This is why that first stop before the stop line is so important. So long story short, I stopped, let's say this is a red light. Okay, it's a red light, or it's a stop sign, regular stop sign, doesn't matter, red light, stop sign. So we stopped here at that stop line initially. So we'll write this in, full stop. We shoulder checked to the right, and then we saw, hey, there are no pedestrians using this crosswalk. So I checked for the pedestrians, and they weren't here, so I went forward to check. I'm now doing my cross traffic check, and while I'm sitting here checking out cross traffic, if 20 seconds, 30 seconds later a pedestrian shows up and wants to cross, now it's not considered that I'm blocking the crosswalk because they weren't there when I crept forward. Now they'll have to either go around me or wait or what have you. And once it's clear for me, I'm going to shoulder check right and proceed to make the turn. Okay. So long story short, if you see someone coming up to use a crosswalk and they're walking with intent towards that crosswalk, don't go forward and cut them off, right? But if we exercise caution, we stopped, we checked, and then we went forward to see what's happening. Let's say we don't have a good line of sight, and then a pedestrian shows up to cross. Now it's kind of too bad for them. They're just going to have to wait till we are out of that crosswalk before they can proceed. Okay. So this is, I think, where the slight hesitation comes from students when I ask them to pull into the crosswalk. They're like, but I thought we're not supposed to block the crosswalk. And yes, there are times, as I just mentioned, we don't want to block the crosswalk. But oftentimes is the case that if we don't go forward enough into the crosswalk, we won't be able to see enough into the crossroad to be able to make this turn. So we are permitted to go into the crosswalk area once we've obeyed all the other steps that we have to do, and there are no pedestrians coming up to use it.